Hi everyone, ciao. So, ciao from the Strait of Messina, the strait that goes between mainland Italy and the island of Sicily. There's no bridge, so there are ferries that go across, and I happen to be on one of the last remaining train ferries. So our train, which I took from Catania, Italy, or Catania, Sicily, which is Sicily's second largest city, they loaded our train onto the ferry, and now we're crossing the Strait of Messina. Yeah, so in this video, you'll see two different train trips. So I'll start with the night trip that I took from Naples down to what was originally supposed to be Syracuse, but I decided to get off the train earlier, a bit earlier, and stop in Catania. And then as I was looking for options to get back to mainland Italy to continue my journey, I decided to, rather than flying, which is going to be very expensive, and I wanted to see Calabria and some of the other parts of Italy I haven't seen. So I've been to 15 regions so far, and I'm going to visit 4 more regions on this trip. Um, so yeah, so you'll see my night trip, or portions of my night trip, um, in this video, and then you'll see my day trip on the way back to mainland Italy. Tonight I'm doing something interesting that I've always wanted to do. But first, ciao to Napoli. Hello from Napoli. But I'm doing something I've always wanted to do, at least since I've known about it for the past couple of years, is to take a train to Sicily. And you heard that right. You can take a train to Sicily. There's no bridge that goes from mainland Italy to Sicily. So what I'm about to do is pretty cool. I'm actually taking a train that will be loaded onto a ferry, and then that ferry is then offloaded on the island of Sicily, and then we're heading down to Syracuse or Syracuse. Yeah, so I have a little room for the night, and you might have seen in my previous video, my friend Andre was delayed in making it to Italy, and finally he just gave up. So let's see, United, Aer Lingus, and British Airways, y'all are terrible, just so you know. So what he had to go through for the past 2 days was just absolutely a nightmare. So I understand him finally just saying, you know what, I'm gonna give up. But I will do a video on how not to plan your travel to Italy, and he basically checked all the boxes, if I'm being honest. So sorry, Andre. But anyways, let's take a quick look at the room here. So it's a very small cabin, but it's cool. It's a cabin on a train. So this is my bed. So il mio letto per stasera. There's some storage up there. There's storage up there where I'll put my bag, and then there's actually another bunk here that comes down. So since I'm traveling da solo, no need for that. And then a couple of power outlets here. A mirror, a specchio, in Italiano. And then what's cool is there's actually a little wash basin, so I can wash my hands and brush my teeth and all that stuff. It looks relatively clean. And then yeah, so it's about 10:50 p.m. right now, and we're leaving Naples. We should be getting Syracuse around 9 a.m. Hi everyone, so it is 3:19 a.m. and like the train nerd that I am, I decided to stay up most of the night. I was excited to see the train go on the ferry. So that should be happening pretty soon. We're close to the Strait of Messina. But I just had an interesting experience. So it's 3 o'clock. I try to go use the bathroom, and all the bathrooms are locked on the train. Or at least the 2 cars, the car that I'm in, and then the car, the next car. So, I don't know, maybe it's a safety thing, but me and like this older woman, we were just like trying to find an open bathroom, and it wasn't until we stopped here, so the train's currently stopped. It wasn't until we stopped here that like the Capoturano,
the head of the train, one of the conductors, got out of his room, and he unlocked one of the bathrooms for the woman. And then I asked him about another one, and he kind of gave me a bit of an attitude, like I was in the wrong for wanting to use the bathroom at 3:30 in the morning. And the bathroom was absolutely disgusting. It was so gross. I forgot my camera, and I just didn't even want to go back and take any photos of it. But just like most things, like this could have been a really cool experience. I mean, it is so far. The cabin isn't terrible. It's actually quite comfortable, and I figured out how to turn on the lights so you can see more of the cabin that I'm in. So my bag is stored up there, and then this is where the second bunk can come out. Yeah, but just the little touches, like the bathroom could be a bit nicer. There's no Wi-Fi, which maybe isn't a big of a deal. But and the attitude of the conductor, maybe he's just annoyed because it's 3 o'clock in the morning, but I don't know, you kind of expect there's several bathrooms on the train, like not too far from where I am right now, and they're all locked. Very, very strange. But anyway, so we should be putting the train on the ferry sometime soon, and hopefully I can get some good video of that. Alright, so we got to a point where we just stopped, and now we're reversing, and I'm guessing we are reversing to head to the ferry. Alright, so we are stopped, and I can hear some like metal banging or whatever, so maybe we are about to get on the train now, or on the ferry now. So let's see, looking at the map. Yeah, we're pretty close to the port, and now we are moving again. I'll turn off the lights. Cool, there's a life jacket there. Floor 3, main deck. We are on a boat right now. Holy crap, this is so cool. Alright, so we just drove onto a boat. This is pretty cool. I'm gonna go see if I can see anything outside. They might tell me to go back in the room, but we'll see. Cool. Yeah, we're actually on a boat, so that is pretty neat. And then you can see the rails and everything down there. It's kind of hard to see with the reflection, but I think they're going to move the other sections of the train beside us. So, all right. So as we're waiting for the entire train to get loaded on the ferry, I just did a quick search and came across a Wikipedia entry on current train ferries. So apparently, Azerbaijan, Bolivia, Bulgaria, Canada, China, Germany, Georgia, Iran, of course, Italy, Italia, Kenya, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Russia, Sweden, Tanzania, Turkey, Turkmenistan, Uganda, Ukraine, and the United States. I did not know we have train ferries in the US, but apparently in New York there's one that carries freight cars between Jersey City and Brooklyn. There's the Alaska Railroad, that runs its own ferry from Whittier to Seattle. Whittier is a pretty cool town in Alaska. We were actually there maybe 2 years ago. It's a former army outpost, and it's only accessible by water or by the longest tunnel. I think it's the longest car tunnel or longest rail tunnel or longest combined car and rail tunnel in the United States, and it goes to Whittier, Alaska. Pretty cool town. Most of the town actually lives in one building. Check out some of the YouTube videos on that. And then there's the Central Gulf Railroad connecting Port of Mobile, Alabama with Veracruz, Mexico. So yeah, so we're doing something pretty unique here. So we're passengers on a train that's getting loaded onto a big old boat that can take the train across the Strait of Messina. Interesting thing about the Strait of Messina, and Italians know this, is that they've been talking about building a bridge across the Strait of Messina for like hundreds of years. And it looks like the Meloni government might be pushing forward with it. They approved plans for a new bridge. It would be the longest, I think, suspension bridge in the world because it can't have any intermediate towers, because the Strait of Messina is very windy and then the water is just super choppy. So it raises, and then of course there are earthquakes too that they have to be concerned about with Mount Ida and everything else that's going on, like geotechnically. So, but it'd be pretty cool if they did build the bridge across the Strait of Messina, because it would just connect Sicily more to mainland Italy, and it would likely just help improve the economy in Sicily and Calabria and just southern Italy in general. Hey guys, so to my surprise, we're already across the Strait of Messina. I know it's not that wide, but that boat ride was surprisingly smooth. Was sitting here all along. I'm actually editing a video on the group of people I met from Chicago, my sailing buddies from Chicago, and I'm just like, okay, when is the boat gonna leave? When are we gonna get across the Strait of Messina? And then next thing I know, the train is moving, and I'm like, all right, are they just taking us off, or we're not gonna cross? And I loaded up my map and we're already across the Strait of Messina. So now we're going to make our way down to Syracuse. All right, so I made it to Sicily. So the train ride was interesting. It was pretty cool. Like, you guys saw how we got loaded on to the ferry. Unfortunately, I couldn't get like good video or photos of it, but I'll post a link to just articles about the train ride. But it's kind of just getting you from point A to point B, right? It got me from Naples to Sicily overnight. I was originally planning to go to Syracuse, but I actually, and I do this all the time when I'm traveling Italy, I'll change my travel plans at the last minute. So as I was on the train, when I woke up in the morning, I was like, I've never been to Catania. Catania is the second largest city in Sicily after Palermo. And so I just got off the train in Catania, and it's been interesting. It's a pretty cool city. I'm glad I stopped. It's definitely different than Palermo, but I like it here. Not sure if I'd return, but definitely would return to Palermo. I like Palermo a lot. So let's see. The train ride, yeah, again, it's just getting from point A to point B. The bathroom situation was very annoying. So if you're taking that train, just use a bathroom before everyone goes to sleep. I'm not sure why they would lock all the bathrooms, but fortunately I got up just as we were rolling into one of the stations. I think it's actually the station before we got onto the boat. So yeah, so was able to see the Capotorno, the head of the train, or the conductor, and he opened one of the bathrooms for the woman and for me to use. But yeah, probably wouldn't take the train again. It's an interesting way to get to Sicily, but overnight, I don't know. I'd probably, flying is expensive. Flying to Sicily is expensive, but I'd probably try to fly. That said, I'm actually heading over to Calabria. So I've visited so far 15 of 20 regions in Italy, and I'm heading over to Calabria today, and I'm taking the InterCity train. So down here I took the InterCity Notte, so the night train, and I'm taking the InterCity train over to Calabria, and I believe the train's getting on the ferry too. So if that's the case, I'll get some video of that. Hey everyone, so we are about to board the boat, it looks like right now. So let's see. Yeah, here we go. We've transitioned now to the boat. Yeah, you can see the other boats over there, just the regular ferries, and this is the train ferry. Cool. So yeah, that's how they load the train onto the ferry, and then obviously overnight when I got here, we all had cabins, and it was late at night, so it was around 3:30 a.m. But during the day, we can actually get out and look around and check out things. There's a bathroom up here, and then come take a look around out here through the side window. Beautiful view, and there's cruise ship over there. So I actually have friends who are coming in a few months, and they're actually stopping in Messina, which is where we are right now. So I'll be sure to share this with them. And then it looks like we can actually go outside. So let's get some good views outside. All right, so there's some seating areas here. This is so beautiful. Wow. Wow. And this is it. This is the ferry that is carrying the train, and that's the train that I was just sitting on a few minutes ago. This is definitely a unique experience. Yeah, and I'll capture some videos. We're crossing the Strait of Messina. All right, so this is a really cool experience. If you want to take the train that gets on the ferry, then be sure if you're leaving, certainly if you're leaving Catania or Syracuse,
look for the intercity train. And if you're going to Rome, or I'm just crossing the Strait of Messina, I'm heading to Reggio Calabria. But if you are, oh, look at the smokestacks. Maybe not good for the environment, but it's pretty cool. Hi everyone, ciao. So we made it across the Strait of Messina over to Villa San Giovanni, and that's the boat that took us across. So as you can see, it's a pretty massive ferry. They opened the front there and loaded that train. So they actually split the train into two, put it on the boat, and took us from Sicily to mainland Italia. So anyways, very cool experience. If you have the time, I'd recommend it. It's a beautiful view. And especially if you're gonna visit southern Italy, like Calabria, and maybe make your way over to Bari in that area, maybe rent a car, which is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna actually rent a car and drive up the peninsula. But anyways, my train down to Reggio Calabria is leaving pretty soon. So alla prossima. Until next time, ciao.